hello.
It's like all got really serious.
I know, right?
Was that why like serious? I was like going into like serious interviewer mode. Hello, friends. This is Liv Mokai Wheeler, and I'm here with some new old friends and some old new friends. Some of you already know Natalie, and for those of you that don't know her, soon you'll know her a little bit. And we're also with Karen and Tena.
Hey,
I'm
everybody.
Tena.
I'm Karen.
I'm Natalie.
We're gonna be laughing through the whole thing. Just
I know.
Natalie, would you please bless this space with a prayer?
I would be happy to. First and foremost, I want to give gratitude to Mother Earth, Gaia, Pachamama, Madre Tierra, the unseen, for giving us all that we need in order to be here today, for blessing us with a new day, for blessing us with life. I'd like to thank Liv Mokai Wheeler for walking the way that you do, for inviting us into this conversation, and for the ways that you walk in the world. I give so much gratitude to the Kontomble for their ways of guiding us, teaching us, transforming us in their very special, unique way that they do that. I give gratitude to Tena and Karen, and to Liv, and to all of your ancestors, and to all of who you are that guided you to be in this moment with us. May we continue to walk in the ways that we do. May balance and harmony continue to be restored on Gaia. May the divine feminine continue to rise, so the balance between the feminine and the masculine can come into fruition. May all beings be free. May all beings know love. And may all beings thrive. May it be so.
Okay. Now I get the feeling they're asking me to ask each of you if you would if you feel comfortable doing this, to share the beings that are with you.
Yeah.
If you feel comfortable doing that. I mean, I understand it could be like a super long list. But it's I don't know, I feel like us all coming together, Spirit asked me to call all of us together to, be with the mystery. And that's what Spirit was just asking me. They said ask them to speak about who's with them. It's a way that we bring more of our being into this dimension, and that we also honor the culture that's rising, that's also always been here with Spirit.
Go ahead, Kara, you can start.
Okay. Tina and I usually have the same ones around. So we have our guides. We have Jesus and Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary. We have Archangel Michael, Archangel Christiel, and Raziel. Who else is there? There's a lot. There's Kuan Yin. There's always, I always feel them in the background. The Divine Feminine are always in the background. Who else is there? I'm just seeing like our dragon tribe. Like I'm seeing like a bunch of them that always come in to help, give us the protection, like every time we work. Who else is there?
Well, our Syrian guides, Syrian and Pleiadians. Arcturians are there, but they're more in the background as well.
Dolores,
and like Dolores is always around. The elementals, fairies are huge. Yeah. Who else?
I can't really think of names. That's pretty much the main ones that are around. Like every time we work, they usually come step up and make an appearance when we do our remote spirit release work. So when we do like spiritual health checks, it's usually our gang of people that come and help us out.
Yeah, that's like the core, you know, and then there are others kind of in the background as well. So, yeah.
Natalie,
If
you want to.
Right?
Okay. For right now, who I'm aware of Kontomble. I'm aware of Yemaya. Yemaja. I'm aware of my tiger. I won't say her name, but she's here always. I'm aware of Zeus. Kind of looks like it's gonna thunderstorm, even though I know it's not. Like, there's been a storm I'm sitting in front of a window, so there's been a storm that's coming. I'm aware of Chief Joseph. I haven't seen him in a while. He, when I was getting my Reiki training years ago, he was the guide that showed up to support me in my energy healing work. And I didn't know who he was at all. And then over the years, he's finally like revealed more of who he is. There's a part of me thought that I was making it up. So he's like a very precious elder to me.
Nice.
Yeah, that's all who I can feel right now. I'm sure there's more. It literally feels like there's a few others like oh, I'm so sorry. The volcano being
Oh, wow.
I apologize. Wow. Yeah. They're very much present. So I just felt like really hot in the moment I said that. Yeah, that's all I can feel right now.
Okay. I didn't know if I was gonna say anything, and then all of a sudden, like I felt all this heat come in. I'm like, okay, okay, I'll say something. Well, for sure, I honor my ancestors, and I honor my ancient ancestors, and I honor the Kontomble. I honor the Fae, and I honor the deer, and the wolves, and we were mentioning just before we started recording that in working with Tena recently, I remembered a familial connection with Sirius. So it feels with me now. And yesterday, actually, I was connecting with a seer, and at a certain point, she was like, "You have Sirius energy with you," or she was saying SIRIUS, and I was like, "Yeah, that's funny. I just reconnected with that." And I also, in the session with Tina, reconnected or understood that it's like a lineage of white animals. They're like messenger animals that were there. And it's interesting because I've heard Kontomble speak about them sometime, but I never look there exactly. I'm usually looking there. I didn't notice.
I wanted to tell you too, I've been connecting with the white animals. Like they
saying something, but what was happening? Yeah, will you tell me?
It just kept coming up for me, and when things keep coming up for me, like actually in the physical, like I was seeing white animals everywhere, and I was like, wow, what is this? And so I researched a little bit into it and realized that they were, signs of this big shift, of the change that's coming. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
It feels, before even talking about the ways that you all practice healing with the spiritual dimensions, it feels like, what do you feel about this time that we've, may as well skip the small talk. Spirit was like, just go there. I'm like, okay. It's on everybody's mind, obviously. It's just a lot of people are like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Please, yeah.
Yes.
As y'all were just talking about the white animals, I like closed my eyes to feel into the thread of the energy. And it made me wonder, I'm like, oh, I wonder if these are like the ambassadors of the lineages that I know Kontomble have talked about this so many times of like how each of our ancestral lineages had a pact with a particular animal. Like,
oh, yeah.
And I found myself being curious of like, oh, I wonder if those are the original like pack holders. Ambassadors. Ambassador is the word that keeps coming up.
Yeah,
as
I
you're
wonder
saying.
also.
Like the pure essence, the original ones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, that feels right.
Mm-hmm.
No, we need to restore balance. We need to remember those pacts and not renegotiate, but like heal reparations for the broken pacts. Probably is the best word. Yeah, I think reparations is probably the best word.
So do you all want to speak on what you feel about the shift?
Wow, that's a big subject.
Yeah.
Well, oh gosh. Yeah, well, it's this shift in consciousness, right? And all of this new energy, I feel even like when we were talking about that session last year in February, the divine feminine coming through. And what I feel like that did was it came through and just started to lift to the surface, like everything that we need to see and heal and move through.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to be ugly for a while. Like that's what I feel like. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be chaotic because it's like we've been just kind of shooing under the rug all of the things that we don't want to look at for years and years and years and years. And finally that rug's being lifted up a little bit and we're getting to see what's underneath of there. And it's not easy to look at. And some people are refusing to look at it altogether, and that's fine. But more and more people are waking up and seeing what's underneath that rug. And, pretty soon the whole thing's just going to be lifted up. And we're going to be forced to face all of the things that we've been suppressing all this time, all of our darkness, because we've just been completely ignoring the collective shadow, and so the shadow is now presenting itself to humanity saying, I need you to look at me, to acknowledge and validate me. And in order to heal that and move through it, like we have to acknowledge and validate all of the things that we never have, right? Because humanity, we're also being faced with our immortality or our mortality in the human collective, and our fears, all of our fears that are coming up, our fear of death is being presented, right, with 2020 and the whole COVID thing. So yeah, like all of that is trickling up to the surface, and I feel like that divine feminine and that Christ consciousness energy is what is fueling it. Really, it's pushing it up so that it can be seen and moved through. So yeah, and at the same time we are as a collective remembering, right? Like we're remembering who we are, and that we're not just these physical bodies, that we are multidimensional beings, and we're remembering aspects of us. Like, when you ask who we're working with now, that's who we're working with now, but that's constantly evolving, like you just remembering your Sirius energy, and that's just going to keep evolving because there are infinite amount of aspects of us out in the world right now, and we're just starting to remember that. And I think it's really hard, but it's also really beautiful at the same time.
I am just tired. I'm tired. Like I'm physically, mentally, like everything is just tired. I feel the energy is just pouring in and I don't even know how to deal. So I mean, like, but I'm fortunate enough. I mean, like Tina was saying, like in the beginning of last year, we were able, that energy, I found that divine feminine energy was something I needed to boost all of my shadows to come forward. Because after that, I worked the whole year. We were separated the whole year. And so it gave me that opportunity to be alone, to work through my shadows. And I feel like it was a preparation for me, like, or for us to come to this point now where we're at this, what I feel is like a fork in the road now, in the timelines are shifting, like, or they're splitting, where people are going their way, we're going one way. And it's like, we're also trying to be there to, like, by making space in our, in ourselves, like by removing the shadows, we're now holding that light now to hold space for everybody that's now revealing their own shadows. So I feel like we were divinely brought here to this point that we have to carry it now, and I'm just tired. I'm tired. I just want to sleep.
We help each other along. Like,
yeah, I'm just carrying it. I was like, come on, guys, let's go.
Well, it's, the way showers, right? Like we have to clear all of our own crap before we can, help the others along. So yeah.
Yes. So we've been fortunate enough also to attract, the same people that want to, that I feel like they're stuck and don't know how to clear, themselves, like from their traumas inside the bodies, the stored, things. So we were able to gather so many tools last year and the years before, like just to help people who are attracted to our work of trauma healing to release it so that we can all move forward together.
that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How are you guys feeling?
It was so well said. You both said. I'm thinking, like, I don't know if there's anything I can add to it besides like seconding everything, literally everything you both said. I'm equally tired and also like, everything you're saying. I'm like, yeah. I'm like drinking my tea. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, and trying to stay sane, trying to keep a sense of humor through it all. Like, like we could see how serious it could be for people, like, waking up to these crazy revelations, and then for us to just be like able to come back, like look at the whole picture from a different perspective, and just laugh. Like I find that so important. We just have to laugh because it's just like we can't get so caught up in in the storylines, the individual storylines, because that's how you can easily get sucked in and lost in that vortex of information and darkness. Like, and the darkness is working through everybody right now.
Yeah.
Like Tina and I have to clear ourselves like almost every day because of how much latch is on, and and they latch onto my kids. So I mean, just the other night I was telling her, I go, yeah, I removed like a high level 3 demon off my son yesterday. And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed now. Like it's good. Like but this is our normal now. Like I have to do ghost busting every day to be clear so that we can hold the light. I'm tired, guys.
It's real. That's real. I mean, that's something you all that you practice clearing and everything. I mean, if you all feel called to, maybe it would make sense if Natalie, you want to share, and then because I know you, Tina, and Karen, I was like super fascinated to see this like twin flame work. I was like, oh, fascinating. That there's this way that they're working together, which is super dynamic. And of course, there's like the techniques that you all work with, and also there's the medicine that is you, also clearly, So I want to definitely honor that. But Natalie, if you'd like to share first.
Yeah, first I want to say that one thing that's been curious and challenging for me is like where I am right now. Did I freeze?
No,
a little bit.
I needed to turn it up. I couldn't hear it that well.
Okay. So something that's been curious is that I'm with my family and I'm having an experience, but the other two members of my family are having a completely different experience. And so it's interesting for me to like, because in a sense I'm outnumbered in that way, to like every single moment, every single day, go back to center and really, really it's almost like I have to call in all of the teachings and all the training that I've done over the years to like really like, this is my truth, and stay like steady and true to that, while simultaneously honoring and accepting their truth, even though it's literally completely different from mine.
Mhm.
And then learning how to have like very clear boundaries. I mean, like one person in my family watches the news all day
Oh
long.
my God. Yeah.
Even while asleep, the TV's on. And it's
Wow.
like really challenging for me because I'm like, no. So I have to like physically have a boundary for my own being, because I notice I'm aware enough to of my own like experience to be like, okay, like I'm feeling something, this doesn't feel nourishing to my soul, and I'm trusting that, and I need to step away from whatever it is that's like feels like toxic to me. And and doing that, and I know it's challenging. I imagine a lot of other people are having the same experience, so I can only imagine how challenging it is. I have enough wherewithal and tools to be able to be like, no. But there's a lot of people who don't have that.
Yeah.
And it's like the there's so much divisiveness that's happening as far as like the different layers of people's experiences and what truth is. And then
Mhm.
when like something that I'm acutely aware of is how when someone's truth is in opposition to another person's truth, right now it feels more amplified that people are like, no, your truth isn't true.
Right.
And it's like, wait, who are you to say that that's the ultimate truth? Like,
Mhm.
it's a interesting line to um uh like to be with, because it's like, yes, if it's harming someone, that's not okay, and
Mhm.
also like that's your truth. Like, I'm not an expert of your experience, like for whatever reason that's what you've chosen, this experience, and it's different from mine,
Hmm.
and I'm not in agreement with it, but I'm also not going to be like I'm the expert in your experience. So it's like an interesting um way to like hold
Yeah.
both,
Mhm.
and a lot of people are not holding it at all. People are
No.
losing their shit.
Yeah.
They are. It's true.
And
Yeah.
It's true. It's really hard to see that divide in my family too. Really difficult. And for me to accept like that's what it is. And I used to like when I had all the information, I was so excited to share it because it's just like I wish, or I was really happy when someone told me.
yeah,
And I was just like, oh my God, like I never thought of it that way. And so I, came in a little hard. I'm very aggressive when it comes to those things because I get really passionate about it, hoping, but then I sound like the conspiracy lady, like crazy lady talking. So I get how that could look to people who are already, really deeply programmed.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, it's just like trying to share, but then you realize after that that's their path. You can only plant seeds. That's your only role, is to plant seeds and then hope that it'll do something. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's the experience they chose to have. And it's just hard sometimes to accept, I guess, that, you want your family to be safe, but then it's like, okay, they have to go on their path and you have to kind of let them go.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so many of us are having that experience right now. And it is really difficult to like hold that higher consciousness and have that higher perspective on things, yet still have to navigate through the 3D, you know, pitfalls and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel crazy sometimes because it's like, you're surrounded. I'm always surrounded by these people. So, and then I'm holding on to my truth, like you said, trying to stay centered in it. And then, of course, when you keep hearing it, you're like, am I the one who's really crazy? And I'm just like in denial, and I'm like trying to be all frou-frou, like trying, but it's like you're being pulled in so many of those directions of making you come back to the program, getting
yeah,
you back into that matrix, and you're like, no, this is it, and it's trying to walk alone that line and trying to keep it there, and whilst holding compassion for everybody around you. That I find is a really hard thing to juggle, is compassion, especially when they're aggressive,
yeah,
and you're just trying to be a way shower and trying to hold the light as much as possible without them trying to push you down and make you question your reality. I find that happens a lot because it's, yeah, you're just surrounded by it and you don't know how to, like, you just don't want to talk, but you want to say everything, but you can't. You just have to be like, okay, whatever you think is right.
And I think that's why so many of us are exhausted, is because
Yeah.
that tension of
Yes,
like,
Natalie, tired.
I just want to sleep all the time. No, I don't actually. I just want to lay down all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think also this time or these times also could be said to be like the ultimate shamanic training. Because I mean, it's so much more complex too than other times also, because there are what I think really adds to the complexity of it is the electronics
Mhm.
and what happens, the programming like fields, and there's the unseen, with the spiritual dimensions, there's the unseen with the back of our heads, like we were talking about earlier too. In the Kontomble have talked about this a lot too. There are things that are generated from some form of technology which are inaudible, which contribute to fear.
Mhm.
Yep.
I believe
And
that.
so, I mean, I also like, I feel for people. I feel for people. It's so much to wade through. It's so much to wade through. And
Yeah.
just like, trying to keep sensing, feeling through it, and understanding that we all only can know what's true for us. We have our own truths. And, how about claiming your right to be a sovereign being and having all of this external input continuously, day after day, trying to wear people down to have you believe otherwise?
Mhm.
Yeah. I feel very blessed that, or we have the higher perspective on it, because I can't even imagine
Yeah.
what it would be like not to, and be like deep down and in it, and getting blasted with all of the fear, the propaganda. Like you said, they're sending out frequencies all the time, these mind control frequencies, and AI is pretty much like running the planet right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, I really feel for people, humanity, that's having to live this out, live through this, without having that higher perspective on things. I mean, I imagine that must be really difficult, being really stuck in that program.
Right. Yeah, that's why I was also really appreciating us all coming together too, is because I feel like you all do have that awareness that it's like, yes, we are in the world and we're of the world. And also I feel like you all have awareness too that yes, also we've lived many lifetimes before. And as I experience like the higher perspective or whatever, it's that's the whole kind of communication about multidimensional existence. From what realm are you existing in? Is there one realm? So if somebody's saying this is reality and somebody else is saying that's reality, and to me sometimes it feels really clear why there's a massive disconnect, because one is in, let's say, whatever it is, like third, fourth dimension, and another is mostly maybe even not wanting to be in this dimension much at all because it feels too much for some really sensitive souls. And so you see that, like, yeah, of course, the reality that they may be communicating about seem miles apart from each other, because they're in different dimensions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually,
Well,
Absolutely.
yeah, and so this is the two world split that Dolores Cannon talked about.
I wondered about, Natalie, do you know about Dolores?
Not enough to be able to speak about. Just what you like briefly told me.
Okay.
Yeah, so Dolores Cannon is a master, and she started out her career in the 50s, 60s doing hypnotherapy with her husband. And over the time, it started evolving naturally. And the people that she was having sessions with started, so, it was just normal stuff like quit smoking, lose weight, like, the kind of normal stuff. And all of a sudden, people started connecting to past lives in her sessions. And it just naturally evolved. It had this evolution where not only were they connecting with past lives now, but they were connecting with their higher selves, you know, the higher dimensional aspects of themselves. And so it evolved over the course of her career from the 60s to 2000, mid 2000s, into what she called quantum healing hypnosis technique. And so she also, along that, in that period, started writing books, and she documented all the information that was coming through her sessions. And people were talking about this time right now, what's happening now. They were bringing through this information from higher dimensions and talking about what was going to happen. And so she documented this in her books, which are amazing. And she talked about the two world split and the new earth, right? And so over the last few years, people have been exploring that concept and what it means. And, you know, are we going to actually go physically to a new earth? Or are the, you know, higher dimensional beings going to come and pick us up in their spaceships and take us to the new earth? You know, there's all these ideas out there about what's going to happen. But I really feel like we're seeing it now. We're living in all these different dimensions in our physical reality, right? Like you were saying, like someone could be in the 3D and standing right next to somebody with a 5D consciousness. And they're in two completely different realities. And you can we're really starting to see that now, how that is manifesting.
Yes. I saw it a lot at my job because I worked at the hospital, and they're really indoctrinated in their science. And like for me, like I'm not really connected to this virus. I'm just like, okay, we're gonna be fine, like let's all get it and we'll get over it, But no, they became, you just see the split, like where they're just like, oh no, we have to wear double masks, we have to wear the gloves, we have to like wash our hands like every 30 seconds. And I'm like, okay, like it's just like you see how split they are. But go ahead. Yeah, it's very obvious.
Yeah, it is very obvious now, and I feel like this polarity is only going to get more intense. Like it's going to get like more chaotic, more intense, until the polarity gets so extreme that it has to unify at some point. So it's just growing and growing and growing. And no one knows what's going to happen next. Like, are we going to have to break off and live in our own little communities, like build our own little communities within the physical world and whatever system is going on in the 3D? Like, are we going to have to like break off from that, or is it all going to happen together? Which I don't know. What do you guys feel about that?
Who wants to go first?
I think anything is possible at this point. I feel that there are communities that are splitting off to create, and then there are people that are just surviving in what's left of 3D, and then us who are just kind of like seeing where it's gonna go. Because like I think that's gonna be the last minute thing for me, to be honest. I don't know how to garden. I think like I need to learn how to do things so that I could contribute to the community, but I'm so like not there at all. Like I just got a filter for my water. Like I'm just not there, guys. Like I'm not. I don't know what to do. Like if you're gonna put me there and be like, let's all sit down and let's take a nap, guys. I'm tired.
I'm cracking up because I literally have been learning how to garden. I have garden books now, right behind me. So I'm sitting in a different place than I usually sit. I'm sitting in front, I'm having tea because for whatever reason tea wanted to be part of this. And I have plants around me. And I have my seeds are up there behind this tree. And I've been thinking this morning, oh, I need to start my seed starts. It's about time. And it's a whole different, because Kontomble did give a heads up 6 years ago, 5 years ago.
Oh my God,
about this, and I remember them talking about seed saving.
Yeah.
And I got obsessed with seed saving.
Yeah.
Not that I really understood what that was. I have friends.
I don't even know what that means.
Saving seeds.
Oh, okay.
It is actually what it sounds like.
Okay.
There's a whole process around it that I'm there's like an actual right way to do it.
You're gonna have to teach us, Natalie.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, seriously.
literally just saving seeds in a box. Like that's not like, I'm sure anyone who like, actually knows a thing or two are like, what? It's not. I'm like, this is what I can do. They told me to seeds. I put them in pouches, label them, and they're in a box. But yeah, that's just making me laugh. And whenever I'll going back to that, like, it's really interesting what you're talking about, Tina, of like how like the two worlds are existing right now. And there's like, I noticed for me, like I have grief around that.
Yeah.
Because like I don't want anyone to be left behind. I can think of like, what is that movie? Lilo and Stitch, which I feel like really like silly saying this, but like how when Lilo and Stitch is like oh, how does that go? Hana means family, and family means no one gets left behind. I don't remember much about that movie, but I remember that part. And I remember being like, yeah, no one gets left behind. And that I have a friend of mine that she always used to tease me because lived in a community house, and I would notice when someone was feeling left out in like we were having a meal together or something like that, and I would purposefully like kind of pull them in of like, you know, come into the group, and she would always tease me, say I was like the camp counselor, like, making sure all the kids were like a part of the group, but like that's very like important for me because I never wanted to feel left behind or left out. And so because of that, obviously it's usually our wound that we want to make sure we take care of others in that way. And so there's grief in that of like, I want people to be left out. And also like everyone makes a choice and how they want to, it's their right to make a choice of how they want to exist or what they want to do. So it's like holding both of that, you know? It's interesting. Like I'm aware of that grief.
Yeah.
Great.
I honor that. I honor that. Yeah.
For real.
My curiosity also is, especially in these ways that we can and we are remembering these different lifetimes that we've lived and are remembering how to embody them again in this lifetime. And so what's possible, you know? I was excited when I was first contacting you, Tina, to hear you speak about miracles. And I was curious because I don't think I've ever asked you this, Natalie. It's like, I imagine you all have experienced like miracles in your work. Have you? I mean, I imagine you have. And so what about that? You know, I mean, what is possible that we can, you know, there's what's been existing here for a while, and there's things that we've done here, or we've lived in ways on the earth here that we can tap into that now, and things can be more easeful and they can be kinder if we want them to be, if we um, connect our will, our desire, our will with that. Like, do we actually want to get along? Do we actually want to understand each other? That, like, Natalie, I've mentioned this to you many times before, but I definitely feel one of your superpowers is your ability to be with conflict, with people who are in strong conflict, and to be able to like bring the water and help that like third way or that third understanding, which to me, like what I see on the planner, what I have experienced and also witnessed, where the struggles come from. And it's like an unwillingness to meet the other, an unwillingness to accept. It goes back to what you all were talking about too. Like, I mean, that's the beauty of diversity. That's the beauty of us all, you know, coming from different places and having different ancestry, and all of this is that our souls can express in so many different ways. Color is beautiful because you see the contrast and you see the colors next to each other, and then you see this color with this color. And what would it be like if purple is saying to yellow, like, you know, it's not yellow, like purple. Hey, like yellow is like, it's not purple. There's no such thing. Like yellow is the only way. And if there was just some color dominating, then what would be the beauty of color? Like these are our soul's expression. What is the problem if somebody is existing in some religion or another? I found this interesting recently. Sometimes when people may even like say they're expressing in, let's say, Christian ways or something, they're talking about God. And I've noticed this a few times lately when I listen to them. There's one person in particular that I hear a lot. I'm like, he's saying that's God. And to me, I experience him as a nature spirit. And he is so about truth. And that's the way I experience nature spirits. What would they be other than true? I wouldn't tell him, that's not God, you're a nature spirit. Like, I don't even know him. I just hear him like, but I've just found it so interesting. I'm like, wow, to him, like he's moving with God. And when I experience him, that feeling, that's a nature spirit to me. But what would be the point? There's no point of saying that. That's just the way I experience him, This is like, oh, so beautiful. And we can come in as like, we've been trees before, we've been all these different things. And to be able to really embrace the intricacy of the soul's expression. So what about that?
Funny, because as you said that about that's not God, that's nature spirit. But like, I guess it's probably like the trickster part of me. Is like, isn't that the same thing?
It might be the same thing. I know, totally.
Like,
it might be the same.
Like,
I was like, for a while, I probably told you this, Natalie, before. For a while, I don't know why. The way I feel beings, I'll hear somebody talk about, let's say, Mary Magdalene or Archangel Michael or something like that. And the way that I've experienced through the years is I'll feel their energy. I'm like, oh, okay, I understand. Like, because when they talk about them, it like conjures that energy. And so I can feel it. Oh, okay, that's nice energy, And for a while, it was so perplexing to me. I couldn't feel Jesus. I didn't not believe in Jesus. I just had never experienced, not since I've been, more connected or something. And then it wasn't actually until I was listening to Dolores and I was listening to her like transmitting from these sessions. And I was like, oh, that's Jesus. Okay. I can feel that. I was like, that's beautiful energy. Okay. Yeah. And so now sometimes Jesus will come in a dream and I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. And he's like a healer, super devoted to people who are really needing healing. Like, what? Oh yeah, it's super beautiful energy. And I was super fascinated hearing those messages about, was it Mary? Because Mary Magdalene came through in an ayahuasca ceremony. I had no idea, like, whoa, that's Mary Magdalene. That was my first time meeting her and I had no idea why she came up, but she was strong, And so when I heard Dolores talking about that and Mary Magdalene, and then being like from a mystery school and they're working together in these ways, I was like, I can totally feel the realness of that. That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
And also that he was going to these different places and to Tibet and to these different, with the druids and learning with all these different people. And then when I was talking to Sylvie about that, we were talking about the druids and I bet he was connecting with the little people too. It all goes back to the little people. That made the story really interesting. Jesus that I was raised hearing about.
Right. Yeah. It's a completely different story, pretty much, like the story of Jesus that is told these last 2,000 years is highly corrupted. And a lot of the religion, like Christianity, has been in place for the purpose of mind control or just control in general, right? I mean, what Jesus has told us is that, he didn't come here to die for our sins. We're not sinners. He came here as a healer to show us what we can do too, and he studied all of his life. Like he wasn't born with these supernatural abilities. He studied in the mystery schools his whole life. in order to be able to perform these acts and work in tandem with Mary. She was just as powerful, if not even more powerful than Jesus. But what did they do? They wiped her right out of the whole story and called her a prostitute. I mean, all of this, the condemnation of women and just the erasing them from the history altogether and making Jesus a savior. So it's had us trapped in this victim and savior complex, which humanity hopefully is trying to break out of now, even though it seems like most of humanity is looking for the savior, right? They're still looking for that person that's going to save us, not realizing that it has to be us, it has to be the people. This has to happen from the ground up. Like, it's not, no one's coming down, Jesus isn't coming down on the cloud to save us, the aliens aren't coming to save us, like no politician or president, or it's not going to happen. It has to be us,
Yeah.
and so this is the message that he's brought through, like everything that I did in my lifetime, you can do too. And it's just a matter of like where you put your focus. Are you focusing on your just plainly physical reality, or are you going within to tap into those multidimensional layers of yourself and bringing that information down so that you can use it? And this is why I'm so passionate about the work we do, is because it helps people to tap into those aspects of themselves again and bring those healing abilities or those or that information, whatever it is that they need, down into their their self here on earth, to be able to utilize that. So yeah, that's my rant.
So when you two connected, I'm curious, was it like an immediate that you remembered each other as like twin flames?
Not immediate.
Like,
no, not immediate.
There combustion.
Oh, there was a combustion in me. There was definitely a combustion in me. It was really like, I was on a maternity leave. Like, I had my daughter, she was 9 months old. And I was away like with my mother-in-law and my mother with my kids. And Tena commented on my post and I wrote her and we became friends, and I felt it immediately. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. I was just like, oh my God. Like I was still kind of 3D there, where I'm just like, oh my God. I go, what does that mean? I go, I have a husband at home. Like, I'm feeling something that I've never felt from him, and I'm feeling from her, a stranger in New Jersey. Like, female. And it was just like this thing erupted in me. Like, I just loved her and I didn't know how to explain that. So yeah, try having that conversation with somebody. Like, it was really difficult to come into that realization, because that totally broke my world. Like the world that I had created here, like with my family, and having to understand myself on a level of like really going into a deep soul connection and trying to understand and navigate life by breaking all of those labels or the conditioning and paradigms. Everything was broken from our relationship.
That's major.
It was amazing. I mean, like how the transformation from like when we had met in 2014 to present day, I don't know, like we manifested each other to come into each other's lives like not that long before. We came in at the right time through divine intervention, through Facebook, whatever that was, and had rolled along. Like, we had healed so much. Like, we mirrored each other. She mirrored me so much that I had to look at myself. I had no choice but to look at myself, which is like the scariest thing. But I feel like I always felt that love from her, that I knew that it wasn't from a place of just like, look at yourself, it's so ugly, It was always just like, look at yourself, it's actually quite beautiful, no matter what that looks like, So, I mean, like, it's scary to see things that you don't want to admit, especially like when they call you out and it's just like, oh God, you're doing it again. Like, stop doing that. Stop calling me out. Yeah. Stop looking at my stuff. Like, I want you to love me, like, I don't want you to see the funny stuff. But no, it comes to that where you have to look at it and then just let it go, because you're just like, it's true. That was part of my storyline. I can let it go now. Yeah.
Well, I think, we see each other so clearly because we are each other. We are parts of the same soul. So, like seeing you for the first time and kind of like the place you were in, like I saw myself because I did the same things. I acted in the same ways. I tried to hide myself too, you know, and that's the only reason why I can recognize it, is because it's me. It's just like a few years past that stage I was in. Like seeing you there was like me just a few years ago, you know, and so and it was funny, you know, the first time we met in the physical, like Karen and I were talking on Facebook or Messenger or whatever, and you know, she was like so super confident and like I thought she the first time we met, I was like,
Where did
what's
she go?
happening? Where did she
Yeah.
go?
I was literally like a dog with the tail between the legs, because I'm just like, she looked right at me, like we made eye contact for the first time, and I felt my body crumble because she saw exactly what I was hiding. Like right away. So I was like, oh my God, no, oh my God. I just landed on the plane. I gotta get the hell out of here. It was terrifying to be seen for the first time because of how long no one has seen you that way. So of course I held that, false sense of confidence. I was confident until she looked at me, and then my whole world like broke apart.
That's some strong alchemy. That's some strong alchemy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It grows and it heals and it transforms and it transmutes and
that's our whole relationship. It's always like that. There's always something to be revealed. And I find like how we have like these revelations that we're kind of scared to tell our partner. I feel like there's some things like that. Like I have like none of that anymore, thankfully. Like I had to break through all of that, like because like my relationship with my ex-husband was all about suppression, all about like the narcissistic and empath relationship type thing. Hers too. It was all parallel, and how to break out of that and to become an empowered woman, and to step into that. So we were able to kind of bring ourselves there, mirror that into each other by like, encouraging each other, like, yeah, you could do it, this and that. When we were just like, going back home, like, oh, I don't want to say that. It's hard to say the things, like the hard things. But we eventually had to say the hard things to get to where we are now, because it's like, how are we going to teach? Like my children were really like the biggest part of that teaching, was like, I didn't want to teach them that was what love was. I didn't want to teach them that, you can't attain what you want. You cannot. I had to step into that for myself, to pave the way for them to step into that power too, right? So, like being in that relationship, getting out of that toxic relationship and coming into this one, like my kids only know my relationship with Tena, really. So they see healthy relationship. They see choices that I've made. They see that you always have a choice. That was like a big lesson. You have a choice to make. And you can always choose something better. But, but I honor like my old relationship. I couldn't have been where I am now had that not been present, because then I wouldn't know what kind of stuff I had to break through and how I could heal my parents' marriage, through my own marriage and getting out of it, So there's a lot of things that had to be done and healed. And also like my parents don't acknowledge things like we were a family of avoidance, but I feel like they've watched me grow. And so it's like they're always like kind of like seeing like what they felt was impossible within the confines of our own culture, like me rising above that and getting out of that box completely.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying too. It's like that, yeah, honoring all of our relationships, all the different relationships that we have, whether they work really beautifully together, they need to stop, or they're for a season or reason, or exactly however it goes. But maybe they're always for a reason, if we're able to see them in that way and honor them in that way. If we're devoted to our own growth and transformation, then there's always things to learn and continue on the soul's journey. I do know that the Kontomble are starting to point me like, hey. Do you want to? I feel that we're wanting to continue to express with us or through us is, maybe if you all want to, we can gather for tea time again and record the conversation and upload it. It feels like there's so much more that's wanting to express and also the Kontomble are not known for patience.
Oh, okay.
Natalie knows.
I'm excited.
It feels like there's messages that they're because they're like listening to our conversation. They're like, okay, they want to, they want to communicate with us. So we haven't done this before. Well, we have done this before, Natalie and I, but we haven't. We haven't connected with in this kind of more formal way with you, Tena and Karen. And so I will be. It's probably good for us if I imagine maybe you all need to take a restroom break. But I would be turning off my video anyway, because traditionally, like the person wouldn't be looking at me when I'm communicating, or they're communicating through me. So do you want to take just a few minute restroom break and then we'll hear from them?
Sure.
Sure.
Cool. Sounds good. And I'm also down for doing another tea time.
Oh yeah, let's
continue, because it does feel like so much that it feels like the pot's stirring.
I feel
I
that.
know. I love you guys already.
Same.
Natalie, can you hear me?
Yes.
Your tea time, you're so funny. When I had messaged Tina, we were scheduling a session, and she had mentioned something about, she was like, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I thought I saw you on a round table, this interview conversation, and it was true. So she had connected in that way. It was with Christiana and this woman Magenta Pixie, and there was, I don't remember if it was like 5 of us or something like that. She's like, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. I'm like, no, you're not crazy. And that's so interesting, the way spirit weaves, that you see somebody and that we all are just we're all just kind of remembering each other.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So cool.
It's funny, the tea that I'm drinking, it's from Living Tea, and it's called Gateway of Spirit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's so
I
cool.
love this tea. And it's the one when I put my hands out on the teas, it's like me. I like love this tea.
That's awesome. I love that.
So yeah, so basically when the Kontomble start talking, you'll hear them in their language, and then I'll translate it. So
I'm gonna mute my mic until
okay.
Yeah, me too.
Kontomble and you talk to us.
And it's different every time, you know, sometimes they're giving a message for the collective or for you all, or sometimes they'll ask you a question. They can be, you know, they can kind of take us deep and expansive, and also they can be very funny. Sometimes they are very funny before they go really deep. They get us laughing, and they're like, "Okay, let's talk about what's really going on." Oh, they're funny. Okay. So if you each will say your full name and then where you were born. Starting with Natalie.
My name is Natalie Marie Zacharias, and I was born in Freehold, New Jersey, on Lenni Lenape lands.
And then Karen.
My name is Karen Baquiran. I was born in Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
Okay, Tina.
My name is Tena Marcel Dodds, and I was born in Chester, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Natalie, can you make an offering again?
Sure, yes.
They're saying that they're relaying a message for the goddess. Amen. Amen. She's saying, so the Kontomble are relaying a message for the goddess, and she's saying that there are, they're pointing out the reindeer goddess, and they're talking about these women that are connected to her throughout the earth. And I was asking, I said, are you talking about like indigenous people, or are you saying, you know, these women have been connected to her throughout lifetimes? And they said, yes, throughout lifetimes. And they're connected to the sacred reindeer, and so the goddess is connecting with like the sacred reindeer, and connecting to the women connected to the reindeer goddess. They're saying it's the wisdom of the north that's needing it's wisdom of the north it's needing tending to, or that's needing attending to. It's wisdom of the north it's needing tending to or attending to. And they're talking about like eagle vision. They're talking about like big sky vision. And they're saying it's like wisdom of the north it's needing tending to or attending to, while there's a kind of like massive purge that's happening from the earth. And so they're needing the visionaries, or the females that are here to like carry vision, to be anchored, to stay anchored and anchor that vision, to not to the best of your ability to not get disrupted by the by the tumult. You're saying it's important for the women that listen to this, that resonate with this message, to create a shrine to the north, which is also the North Pole. And it is also connected to the pole, and it is also connected to, well, yeah, they're just saying, leave it at that much for now, that it's connected to the North Pole. Okay, this is really interesting. So they're saying, you know, people are saying right now that there are timeline wars happening, which, yes, there's truth in that, they said, but it could be elaborated differently also. They show like something like time vectors, or they're showing these like almost like a drag net or something, but it's a time net. And let's say, for example, a particular picture like a fisherman's net or something. Picture like kind of an old school like fisherman's net, or like an older kind of net that captures things, right? So they're saying that there's because ultimately like time is illusory. It's real and it's not real. It's real and it's not real. Both simultaneously. And so they're showing, let's say, for example, like the Holocaust or something, and it hasn't been maybe like grieved or something the way it was needing to be grieved, or the souls that were trapped never got to transition yet from that. And so there are these like nets that are being used that capture people, and then suddenly you feel like you're in that time. And you feel like, you know, oh my gosh, is this that time right now? But they're showing that's how there's they're saying it's like a current technique of the powers that be. It's a current technique of the powers that be. And they're saying, and always the way through is healing. Like always the way through is healing. In any like roadblock or internal block or family block or anything, nothing is really truly insurmountable. Always a way through is to heal. What they're encouraging everybody to do is to be the author of your life. So they're saying, like, what does it mean to be a sovereign soul? Well, you are the author of your life. And so what does that mean in this case? What that means in this case is that you kind of experiment, or you can experiment with different ways of saying things, or declaring things. And so just, whatever exactly it is, it's like, I, Liv Wheeler, I'm a sovereign being, and I declare myself as immune to these time nets, something like that. They're saying, continue to explore it, continue to experiment with your declaration, your unique declaration that can be said at your shrine. They're saying this is one of the most powerful medicines of this time, is that we're all remembering the true, it's like the power of the tongue, the power of your voice united with will, united with your soul. They're saying there are so many loving guides and guardians, and even it's interesting because you had mentioned Dolores, and now I see Dolores, and there are so many loving guides and guardians that are looking in on us, and it was really emanating so much care, and also not only care but belief in us. They're saying they're gonna they're saying about us here, and they're also saying this about the collective. They're saying it's like the sweetest love, and they're saying, I know they're going to get through this. I know they're going to get through this. They have complete belief in us. They're saying they encourage all of us to have what they're calling star gatherings. They said the stars talk to the fire. So they show little gatherings of beautiful souls around the sacred fire at nighttime outside, and they're showing with the fire in the sky. That in this case they're talking about the stars. They said through the fire the ancestors talk to the stars. And they said also, you will always only go as far as you'll allow yourself to go. You will always only go as far as you'll allow yourself to go. In other words, they're showing right now, this is the time of zero limitations. They said this is not the time for limitations. They said, let yourself be free. Let yourself be free. Let yourself be free. And they show just sometimes when it's tossing something off and you feel free, but they're showing it's a certain, almost like a thinking cap or something. It's toss off your thinking cap. Let your mind be free. Free your mind. They said your mind can be a messenger. Your mind can be a storyteller. Your mind can be an investigator. Your mind can be a gossip dweller. They said this is the time of remembering our higher mind. This is the time of remembering our higher mind. And they're saying that for those of us, those that listen to this, they said, for those of you that do have the tools, that do have the ability, they said, you have a responsibility. They said, you have a responsibility. It's like, let's say, you know, you're an older brother, an older sister to a baby. You know, you have a responsibility. What's your responsibility? Your responsibility is like, well, if it's, you know, your little baby brother or sister that's coming into the world, well, there's things that you've learned and you've gotten skilled at. And there's things that that they're not able to do, and they don't even know that they're not able to do that. A baby is not interested in writing, you know? So they're saying, for those of you that know how to free your mind, free your mind. For those of you that know how to be bridges, be bridges. They said, make it easier for your younger siblings. Make it easier for your younger siblings. The Kontomble said, we just don't know how long it'll take before all of the humans of the earth know that they are indeed family. They said, trees know their family. Some may be in a dry area, you know, some may be in a wet area, yet they know that they're family. They said, they'll never understand, why do humans not know that they're family? And the Kontomble said, you know, a human may say to another, but they have freckles. Don't you see? They're different from me. They have freckles. The Kontomble is saying, you know, learn to love. Learn to be in love with your family. They said it's the best feeling that a human may experience. You know, oftentimes it's you know, learn to be in love with your human family. It's like the best feeling. They said, you know, it's because it's so important to us, and we don't even know that it's so important to us because we forget. We're programmed to be, they said, in debt in all the ways. In debt also means that we keep ourselves isolated and separated from each other, which we don't even realize that makes us in debt. We're in debt. Kontomble said, 3 of you, 3 questions. Okay, so 1 question each if you want.
I have a question about the time nets. So you said these time nets are trapping people. Are they trapping like beings that are alive right now, or are they trapping souls?
They're trapping, well, you could say human beings are also souls. They're trapping humans, basically, you know, humans, unbeknownst to them. So was that the question?
Yes.
They said, come on, Tina, dig deeper. Do you want to ask deeper? Go deeper? We can go deeper with the nuts if you want.
Yeah, can we?
Please. They're waiting for your question.
Well, I'm just unclear, like how it works, I guess. Like what is it actually doing to people? Like,
well, I can tell you so far what I understood about that is like, they can elaborate on that for sure, but I can tell you at least the part that I understood is like, let's say if they get caught in that net, then they're essentially like caught in the energetics of that time that was very, very traumatizing for really, really intense reasons, because there was genocide. You know, there's been so many like kind of massive like genocides and stuff on the earth. Or Natalie, can you say a little bit more, and then I know the Kontomble will say something to her, how you understood that.
Well, it was interesting because I saw it was like they almost look like electric nets, like electric shock nets for whatever reason. And I was feeling into it, and it felt like I was like, oh, what does that feel like? I mean, besides the pain, it felt like oppressive, and it almost felt like what I imagined. Well, not what I imagined. What trauma feels like. Like, trauma feels like you get stuck in this like experience. If you look at like as energy, you get stuck in this like energetic frequency that like it's like, and it's hard to imagine not feeling that. And then I think of like how fish feel when they're like stuck in a net. It's like, I don't know if fish make that noise. I would feel like, and then like with other people or other fish, and then being like, I can't get out of this squished feeling of like,
Yeah.
That's what was coming up.
Tina, they call you, in this moment at least, they call you like women with the gardenias in their hair. They said that you exist in such flowering energy. They said, they continue to say that about you. They said she exists in such flowering energy. They said it's like your energy field. It's like it has that fragrance of gardenias. They said that little people like to be around you. They said, "Oh, she's sweet. You know, it's sweet here." They said, "She's sweet. It's sweet here." They said, you know, trust in your gardenia medicine. The Kontomble were telling me they'll have deeper questions next time. We'll wait. Okay, Karen, do you want to ask a question?
And a question, I don't know. I'm not very deep today. Sorry, guys. My concern is wanting to know about the AI. Like, how could we become or could we create a more organic world by like breaking away from the AI?
Beautiful. Okay. They said, what makes her think she's not deep? You all could. I know Natalie has sat with the Kontomble so many times, but you'll see they just play with us, you know.
It's like I'm literally just thinking the same thing. I'm like, what makes you think you're not deep? That was.
They really they love you all, and they just like, you know, kind of playing with you anyway. They'll tell you about the AI. So okay, well, okay, well, I'm telling you what they're saying. They're saying, okay, they're talking about the English alphabet, and they're saying like inlaid or inladen into the English alphabet. So the Kontomble are like they're like putting a flashlight inside. They're like, ugh, you don't want to know what's inside of there. They said like the infiltration happened a long time ago. They said, why do they always need people to speak English? Why do they need everybody to always speak English? What was so important about English? And they were saying there was like a hex that was inlaid into it. They said the most insidious the most insidious kind of energy is the one that says like, you know, like magic isn't real, magic doesn't exist. Like to talk to spirit is, you know, or to believe in the dragons or anything, it's all fairy tales. And meanwhile, that's what they're doing. And also, it's like saying that anybody that's doing that is doing some form of sorcery, but meanwhile, it's inlaid inside of the English alphabet. Um, and they said, you might wonder, like, what does the AI have to do with the alphabet? The alphabet. They said because it's come from a particular being, and this particular kind of being has the long view, and understands full well, like, the power of the spell. They understand full well, they've understood full well the power of the spell. They understand full well the power of the tree. They're saying something about like Macbeth, or there's something about Lady Macbeth, and being grammatically correct, and being grammatically correct, and being grammatically correct. And they're saying something about like lords, the lords of the alphabet. It all lives inside of the alphabet. Because they're saying it's the same beings that were generating. It's not they generate AI, they are AI. It's not they generate AI, they are AI. They've been AI, and it's embedded inside of the alphabet. It's embedded, it's encrypted into the English alphabet. They said, so what about alphabet soup? Like, why always the alphabet? Think about that. Well, for those that know what alphabet soup is, anyway, like, why would you be consuming the alphabet? He said, so how many ways were they trying to get it inside of you? And what does the alphabet have to do with AI? And they would say, they said AI like generated the alphabet, the English alphabet. Because they're showing the sun. They're saying the ancient, the sun. They're showing about like ancient Sanskrit. They're showing about ancient languages. They're showing about ancient sounds that came from God. They came from source. It was like, oh, and it went into sound, and then it went into ancient languages. They said English is not ancient. So they're saying, so if somebody wants to sincerely like detox their AI, restore your original tongue, whether that be through the stars or whether that be through the ancient syllables, the sound that came from the source, then we remember our relationship with all that is. It comes through the sounds. They're showing like they said there's something about the way it's inlaid in the syllables. There's some way that it was like the exodus from life, from the organic. So they're saying, so return to the seed, the heirloom seed, not the GMO seed. Return to the seed and place, be there with your children and be with the original seed, the heirloom seed, and put your intentions in there and say, we remember, we restore, we remember. And then allow that plant to nourish your family. Natalie, they said to you, Natalie, how are we doing?
Hey, Kontomble.
I said, Natalie, how is your family?
They're good. They are. They are.
They said, we understand sometimes family's not all it cracked up to be. It's not all it's cracked up to be. It'll get better. Okay, so do you want to ask a question and then we'll close out after that?
Okay. So I've been sitting with this ever since we connected last week, Liv. I've been thinking about how something like the emotion code can be utilized to release the collective, used as a and not even just the emotion code, like any kind of energy healing can be used as a tool, not just for like individual people or groups, but like for the collective as a whole. And I've been this past 24 hours getting images of like doing group healing for the collective.
Beautiful.
I feel like the Kontomble actually are the ones who, no, I don't feel, I know the Kontomble are the ones who are like, this is me to do. But I was curious about I don't know how to, something about the stars feels important. Yes. Like a particular placement or a particular time to like, to connect with the stars in doing this group. And again, it doesn't have to be just emotion code. I think it actually would be really powerful if more people did whatever kind of energy clearing for the collective in groups with the stars. So I just was curious what the Kontomble have, you know, like any guidance you have around that.
Well, the first thing they're saying or showing is there's like kind of like a massive buffalo that's coming through. It's very strong. Like it's on this land. I mean, this land that we're most of us are on right now. Which is also well, the Kontomble, they work with the little people of this land as well. They're saying, they're showing there's like a buffalo medicine growing, and so they're showing anyway again. So the Kontomble, they're showing that, and then they're showing the Kontomble, they work with the little people on this land, and so they're saying they keep saying like the buffalo medicine is growing stronger, and they're saying as the buffalo medicine is growing stronger, they're saying she sends waves out of strength to the healers, to the healing facilitators on this land. And so they're saying this medicine that you're speaking about, again, they show it like, yes, with the collective, and they show it at the fire at nighttime, and there's the night sky, and it's essentially like all of our ancestors, all in plural on the planet, all of our ancestors are connected. They are all united. All the star beings that are connected to us, like benevolent star beings, of course, they want us united. they're showing for you to, they're encouraging you to make a kind of like talismanic medicine. It has a kind of like bone. It's a kind of like earth bone inside of it. And it is, yes, yes, it's like earth asking you to work with her in this way. Yes, it's when you work with the earth in certain ways, yes, you are working with the collective. Imagine the humans energy fields are also like the earth's like biosphere. It's one and the same. And so as deep as you've gone with the earth, yes, it's this talismanic, it's like a, for lack of a different way of saying it, it's like a power object or something. There's like bone medicine. There's bone medicine in there, and they're saying there are other things that will go inside of there that you'll know. You'll get the hint. You'll get the impression of, and it's attuned to a particular constellation, which you know personally. They're saying a way that they show that this can be very, very, very supportive is to unite with humanity, unite with the collective in the way that you're, let's say, you know, like purging or like moving like anger, rage, or something through the physical body. And in a ceremony like that, they're saying yes, 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 emotion code, and also so much more than that. That medicine pouch is connected to that starry constellation that you're united with, and ideally this is a ritual or a ceremony, even if all those people can't be there with you. And so the intention is, okay, we're working with anger and rage, and in a ceremony like that, well, yeah, you'll want at least maybe like 7 water you know, tenders in the space that they're helping, because they're showing it is one and the same. The fires that rage are also the anger that rages, and it's all one and the same. It's the same energy. The grief becomes the water, the anger becomes the fire, and so on and so forth. And so that's how they're encouraging you to work with that. They're saying, yes, you're ready for that. And they're encouraging you to, even if not so many people are there physically, that at least some people are there to balance out the elements, especially with fire. Water doesn't need so much, but fire in particular, it needs the tending of the different elements. They say in closing what they want to say. To those of you that are listening, they said, let these women, they're speaking about you three, like be a guiding light to you. Allow them to remind you that there is light, that there is joy, that there is happiness, that there is peace. There is also struggle. And let us be more fluid with our human experience. The time of artificial is no more. They said, let your wild plants restore. They said, like, encouraging everybody to like plant their wild gardens, you know, their wild arugula or whatever exactly it may be. They are asking Karen if you would be so kind as to say like a closing prayer.
Just wanted to send all of our gratitude and love today for Liv, for Tena, for Natalie, the Kontomble, all of our guides and our families from afar, anywhere across the universe and beyond, for giving us this beautiful session today together. I feel like it's like a reunion, just getting together with our sisters and allowing our power to come forward, so that we can create and pave the way for those that are in need of that light to come and join us. So just sending so much thanks and love deeply for today and for the future of our many gatherings.
The future looks bright.
Yes.
Future looks bright. Okay. Thank you so much to each of you. And yeah, the Kontomble said just leave it at that. Yeah, so we will be connecting soon, I do believe. If y'all like to, we'll connect in February. I imagine those that are listening would appreciate that. So sending love to each of you. And until the next.
Love you.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Take care.